Hey guys, Chris Bumstead just announced that he is competing at the 2024 EVLS Prague Pro, where he's going to have to go up against a number 4 in the world of Martin Fitzwater. Although he probably isn't taking this all too seriously, I thought that it would be fun to compare these two and see how well Chris stacks up against a true open competitor. To be honest, I'm just extremely excited to see Chris on stage once again, especially without a weight cap, and do let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. Now, before the video does start, if you guys are enjoying my content, a like and sub would be awesome. And with that all being said, let's get into this comparison. Alright, the first pose, the front double, is not the strongest pose for either, however, it's not a bad one by any means. Now, right off the bat, Chris really does stand out, mainly due to that massive stature and superb X-frame. However, there are some immediate flaws that do arise. Firstly, he's getting outsized almost everywhere, and especially in the quads and arms. Martin looks very filled out and incredibly dense, whereas Chris looks like a maxed out classic physique competitor. There really should be no surprise there, since Chris had to compete under a weight cap, whereas Martin has free range to put on muscle wherever, whenever. Now, as much as I like Chris in this pose, Martin looks very aesthetic as well, and arguably has just as good of an X-frame to match. This would most likely go to Martin by default because he severely outmuscles Chris in those arms and legs, and does have a very nice shape as well. The front lat spread is an easy win for Chris, even with the size discrepancies. I think that Chris has the best front lat spread across any division currently, with those Dorian-esque lats, amazing proportions, and ridiculous width. Unfortunately for Martin, my editing software appears to have taken sizable chunks out of his lats. However, even if he had that muscle back, I think he would still lose. His arms, delts, and chest are all relatively underwhelming, and his only standout attribute are those quads. I think better posing could really do him more justice, as well as better editing on my part. However, either way, Chris is just dominant here. Those lats, the structure, and the solid conditioning all flow extremely well, and his aesthetics are top tier, and he really just brings that wow factor to this pose. The side chest is another pose that I think Chris will also win. Like the front lat spread, he has one of the best side chests of all time across all divisions, and here that dominance really shows. Martin is no slouch when it comes to size and thickness, however, he's not overpowering Chris upstairs nor out-detailing him downstairs. Martin still needs a bit more thickness in his chest and tricep to really make this pose pop, along with some more detail in the side leg. He's good here, however, Chris is significantly more detailed in that side leg, has a similar arm and delt and a fuller chest, and is also structurally massive. Chris has definitely perfected his side chest pose, and compares extremely well to Martin size-wise, whereas Martin has a bit more refining to do. The rear double is a pose that Chris normally dominates his competition in, however from behind it is game over for him. Martin really shows up big time in this pose, beating Chris at his own game and by quite a large margin. Martin has larger arms, delts, legs, and the best back by far, and his general thickness is insane. He's smoking Chris in the hamstring condition and outer quad thickness, has twice the pop to that back, and tons of size for days. Chris does have that taller structure and some very good aesthetics, however he's getting outclassed in the arms and in the legs as well. Martin easily has one of the best rear doubles that we've seen recently, possibly one of the most complete currently, and is clearly too much for Chris to handle. Because Chris is a classic competitor, there were no other poses that I had footage for, however I will talk about the other poses at the end of the video. For the last pose, I think that it should be obvious Martin is winning the most muscular. The reasoning is in the name of the pose because Martin is clearly the most muscular, and he has that dense, grainy look that separates him from Chris. Chris isn't bad at all here, possessing one of the more impressive most musculars from the classic physique division, that is. However, his chest, arms, and delts could all be a bit bigger. He's certainly proportional and aesthetically pleasing, however, he's just not doing enough for me when it comes to the size and to that wow factor. Anyways guys, that's it for the comparison. To summarize, I had Chris winning the front lat spread and the side chest, and Martin taking everything else. For the poses that we didn't see, depending on the posing execution, Martin or Chris could have an equal chance of taking the side tricep. Now, the ab and thigh would most likely go to Chris for the aesthetics, however, Martin would also be close. Finally, the rear lat spread would be an easy win for Martin, with the overall outcome most likely being a win for him as well. Now, I think that Chris is a great, very accomplished competitor. However, I really just don't see him winning this show. Do let me know in the comments though, what do you think and who do you have winning? And I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.